Hey, good morning, afternoon, evening, night, May, November, December, October, whatever, whenever. How are y'all doing today? So, it's October 15th, which means it's the middle of October, which means that time is ramping up. Oh, excuse me. Today, last night, this night, this night. I guess it's officially the morning now. It's like 6 in the morning my time. Um, I got a feeling to do one of these, so we're gonna do one of these limitation need. Ooh, thank you, because please no types of things, and then we'll see what's up. I have a funeral service that I'm going to today, so oof. But I can't not go. So I mean, I could not go, but I'm not gonna do that. So let's see what's up. Let's see what's up. I'm not gonna complain about this. And that's my complaint about it. These are just like not shuffling today. It may be because my fingers are a little cold as well. Alright. And let's just see. Mercury retrograde has been interesting so far. Last night was last night. This night, I'm just like, there are just so many things that I don't want to know. And dealing with the type of person that just says it anyway, I'm like, I did not need to know this. I didn't want to know this, but thanks for the information, I guess. I guess, we can't hide from stuff all the time. So before I read this, I am going to give this a few more shuffles, and then we'll see what the medicine is for this energy. So that's how this works. I mean, I guess I can look at it and then stop. Yeah. So it is the Conqueror of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands energy. There are two arrows. There's the snake coiled around it, and there's the rod, which is the wand. So I guess the death card is two snakes, because it's reminding me of the thing on the death card, and it's going after this fire. For some reason, it's reminding me of, let's see if y'all can even see it. Don't Tread on Me. Um, there we go, kinda. There, you can kind of sort of see it there. There you go, Conqueror of Wands. Knight of Wands type energy. Being the limitation, I mean, the Knight of Wands being a limitation, that could be either us not going after the things that it is that we want to, or going after things that don't serve us, right? That could be that in and outy, playery type, just based off of what one wants in the moment, no real thought to consequences or how your actions impact other people or yourself, honestly. But the Knight of Wands, Son of Wands has been coming out not super often, but I have been seeing it, especially the Son of Wands. And so maybe this is about the things that we desire and the way that we go about it. Maybe it's both. What's this? The Knight of Swords. With the Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I feel like if we were honest with ourselves, we would kind of sort of realize that maybe some of the things that we're going after we don't even want anymore. It almost feels like things that we've been conditioned to want, or things that we've convinced ourselves that we want, but we never actually really wanted them, and that's why there's no real satisfaction in the pursuit, really. Well, in the pursuit or the attainment of these things, right? Okay, so I guess I'm not doing the thing I usually do. No, we're going to end with that. Okay. So then there's the Four of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Nine of Pentacles. And this, to me, it's saying that if we were to still ourselves, get clear on what it is that we actually want, put dedication and effort towards getting that and going after that, it would bring us some solo abundance. There we go. Right? Bottom of the deck is the Six of Coins. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make this any clearer. Let's see. Six of Coins, she in there. There you go. There you go. There, you see the scales. You see them coins. It's interesting because the Giver, Six of Orbs, has scales in it as well. And we're in Libra season right now. What coins do we have? Let's see. There's the coin with the nail in it, and the coin with the bone in it. The bone speaks of... Well, this bone in particular is about support. So there's this kind of sort of artificial / outside support, and then this internal support. There's the card of the wing, which is swift movement, also an energy of innocence. Thorns, which are boundaries and restrictions. Roots, which are about communication. And then the diamond, which is, it could be related to wealth, finances. Also, I feel like it's the sturdiness of self type energy, right? Because diamonds are one of the hardest things, but they're also brittle or something like that, right? And so one side of the scale is the restriction, on the other side of the scale is the freedom of movement. On the restriction side is the external sort of fastening energy. On the free side is the internal skeletal organizational system. And then in the middle is this communication and abundance. I don't know if y'all will be able to see all of the different coins. Let's see. There you go. That's the nail. That one's the bone. The femur. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I think this is upside down. No, it's not. Let's see if we can get her in there. Can we get her in there? Can we get her in there? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. They're in there, okay? But with the Six of Pentacles energy, it is just like it could be either. We're not giving to the things that serve us, or we are giving to things that don't. And with the Six of Pentacles being a limitation, it's also about not really caring about building a foundation. It's not concerned. That's not what it's about. Right? And if it is about building a foundation, with this energy right here, we're definitely not going about it in a way that's productive to us. And I feel like maybe it's because we don't really know ourselves and we don't fully know what it is that we want. The Knight of Swords, last time we saw it, it came out after the Five of Swords and the Ten of Swords. And the Knight of Swords preceded the Four of Wands, I believe. And with the Four of Swords, this could also be us taking our sort of mental power, quote unquote, away from this Hierophant energy. That would kind of like, because with this elephant, I'm getting like circus vibes, high key. And it's the Nine of Pentacles. Well, it could be Ganesha, the energy of Ganesha, removing obstacles, more internal blockages and obstacles that keep us from our abundance. But I'm not necessarily feeling it that way. It is kind of sort of feeling like a circus, and this is the Hierophant circus. It keeps us sort of wanting things outside of ourselves. It keeps us wanting things that socially and societally we know that we should want, or we believe we should want, but it's not things that we actually want in and of ourselves. And if it's not something that we actually want for ourselves, the amount of fulfillment that it's going to bring us is limited. And maybe that's the difference. Come now. The Ten of Cups. Maybe that's the difference between... I'm actually going to put this back because there's nowhere to put it. I'll put it down here. That's the difference between... Oh, I lost it. Like, maybe that's one of the reasons why we don't get much fulfillment out of whatever this is. Because it's not something that actually aligns to us or something that we want. So we're going to pull around the Knight of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the Eight of Swords are at the bottom of the deck. I mean, honestly, sometimes I've had some jobs. I've had some jobs where it feels like I'm literally trading life force for a little bit of money. Jobs that just like suck the life out of me. It's like I wake up, I go to work, I come home from work, I'm so tired, all I do is like crash. Some days I wouldn't even eat dinner because I'd just be asleep. And then you wake up and repeat the thing the next day. It's like, what is this? What is this? Not for me. That's what it is. And I think it's going to be a bit different moving forward at some point in time. Things are going to shift and change. And because like there's the head of the snake, it's like it's going after the fire. It's seated comfortably on the wand, but it's going after the fire. And the snake is too big for this wand. There are these arrows coming off to the side. Two arrows could be a Two of Swords energy. And it's like this snake it's tying itself in knots trying to get to the fire. Oh, y'all can't see that. Well, maybe you can see it. I don't know. Sometimes it. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it shows it. It's like it's tying itself in knots all around this wand. Trying to get the fire. And if the fire is the soul, see, the Ten of Swords being an ego death is interesting. Because when our egos are healed or transformed, alchemized, whatever, it puts things in a different not mindset, in a different perspective, right? So we aren't as easily baited to go after certain things. But let's just continue because I am trying to get back to sleep. But it's like we're not as easily baited to go after certain things. And so I don't know, there's also just this energy for us to begin putting time and energy into the things that we actually enjoy. Instead of putting so much into things like instead of putting energy into things like work. Here's the Knight of Wands, Seven of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. So not great. There's the Two of Pentacles and the Emperor sitting outside of this. Emperor is going to be at the bottom of the deck. And the Emperor is about us taking charge, and it's about us moving. What's behind this Emperor? Behind the Emperor is the Star card. And behind the Star is the Two of Wands. This is about us taking charge. This is about us moving our lives forward in a direction that we want. This is about us reclaiming our desires, more or less. And it's something that I think I ended talking about yesterday, late last night, early this morning, technically, because it was like after midnight, whatever. It was that, like, what was it, Patrick? Thinking about things that actually matter to me. What's actually important to me, right? And what are some of the things that are conditioning? Things that I've been raised to value, ways that I've been programmed to want to appear or navigate, and responses to traumas and other things, and like separating all of those from what I actually desire moving forward. The Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands coming out as the medicine for this energy, while everything else is kind of sort of so beautiful. I feel like the Seven of Swords, it's just like pulling our energy out of things that no longer serve us or benefit us. And it's not only that they don't serve or benefit us, but it's like there's no legitimate interest. It's like, if we're real honest, it's like we don't even want some of the things that we go after. We just know that we should want them, or like we're conditioned in some way or another to want these things. But again, if it isn't something that we honestly, genuinely, and authentically want, the fulfillment and satisfaction that it brings us is going to be limited. And if this is a playery type energy, it's like we're coming into a space where what we truly desire is to settle down. What we truly want is partnership. But if we don't think it'll happen, or if we don't give ourselves the permission to pursue that, it's like that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to let anchor down. And the anchor is the Emperor energy in the Weaver Tarot. I'm using the Weaver Tarot and the Affirmators Tarot, and this is the Journeyman edition of the Weaver Tarot. You probably can't see this either. It's the Weaver Tarot. There you go. Threads of Fate. It's the anchor. And it's like there's nothing grounding this. And there's a need to be honest with that Knight of Swords about the self. And it's just a need for us to ask ourselves why it is that we go after the things that we go after. First, it's like, looking at what we're going after. Then it's asking ourselves why. And then it's looking at how we go about getting it. Because again, with that play type energy, it feels like that's not something that energy wants anymore. But depending on whatever narrative it's trying to uphold or whatever stories it believes, it's like it almost feels like like relationships don't work, relationships like monogamy is so passe type of whatever. But if it's something that you actually genuinely and legitimately want, right? Some people, like, you have the phase where you're non-committal, and then eventually maybe one day you want to start building something. And so I feel like with this Seven of Swords and this Ten of Wands, I feel like it's okay to be like, the things that I used to want when I was younger, or when I was in a different phase of life, or when I was in a different place. The things that I used to want, I no longer want. And I'm no longer going to continue to act like I want them. I'm no longer going to continue to put energy into these things that no longer align with what I desire. And let's say for whatever reason, this could be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. But let's say for whatever reason, like there's this like friend with benefits, or this like a usual hookup that you have, and like it's really fun and it's really good, but it's like I'm wanting something more long term now. I'm wanting something stable, and you know I'm gonna have to cut this off. And like, wow, like really, like but we have so much fun together, and you're like, yeah, we do, we really do. He's like, are you sure? Like, you want to give that up? Are you sure you want to give this up? He's like, no, but yes. Yes, but no. And then here's the fulfillment that we're kind of sort of sacrificing it for with the Ten of Cups. And that's something else that's been coming up intermittently lately, is like, what are we willing to sacrifice to get what actually fulfills us? And the sacrifice that I've been feeling, it's more of like ways of being, patterns, habits, thought processes, different limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging things that we engage in to keep ourselves from really fully going after what it is that we want. And are we willing to give some of that up to get what we actually want? And I think after the space of that reprioritization, it's going to be what aligns. It lines up this Nine of Pentacles energy, and it takes the elephant out of the circus. Elephants are also about overcoming boundaries that are otherwise insurmountable, overcoming challenges that are otherwise insurmountable, or they're about erecting challenges that are insurmountable to get us closer to the mindset of doing what it is that we need to do. Now, with Mars being retrograde, Uranus in Taurus retrograde, in the space where we're going to have that full moon, because they're going to conjunct. The blue Taurus moon is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus, like 8 degrees, which is where my ascendant is. And I know I've talked about it before, but with the Pisces full moon and the Taurus full moon, like these are so like right on top of my own little astrology. Like my sun, the Pisces full moon was literally right on top of my sun, my solar degree. This Taurus full moon is on top of my ascendant, my rising degree. And in my own personal life, like I said, it's been this process of evaluating like what's actually important to me and what do I actually care about. because I'm fairly easygoing, honestly, and I don't really care too much about what people think. Honestly, for me, the biggest thing is like, I don't know why I know what I know. And part of me is like, I'd rather not look like this. But another part of me is like, but I don't even care what I look like. And I'm not going to sacrifice or sabotage something beautiful or amazing because of what somebody else might think. And that's never been something that I care about. So why is that a thing now? Why is that trying to be a thing now? And I am trying to consciously not self-sabotage a lot of stuff. And so I have to ask myself at the same time, like, is this a different way for me to sabotage this moving forward? I mean, it would help if I knew why I know what I know a lot. But at the end of the day, to me, it's worth it. It's worth looking dumb. It's worth looking stupid. It's worth disappointment and anything else to try and to see for myself. And I know that I wouldn't be led in certain directions if it weren't going to pay off in some way. Like, I know it's not going to be for nothing. And that's enough. And it's something that I've kind of sort of been battling with for months now. It's just like, and that might have something to do with this as well. Because if we're talking about the Knight of Wands again, it's related to these things that it's an energy of seeking out pleasure. It seeks out pleasure. And the Knight of Wands is like, if I'm not going to get any pleasure or enjoyment out of doing this, I'm not going to do it. Right? It's Sagittarian energy. It's all about, like freedom and that space of joviality. Or it's that aspect of Sagittarian energy that can be a little bit overindulgent and that doesn't really handle responsibility well. Because if we look at Jupiter / Zeus, like, dude was like coming in the form and shape of all kinds of things, impregnating women. Half of the demigods belong to Zeus. And then you got poor Hera, who isn't talking to Zeus, as far as I know, and who can't do anything to punish Zeus. So what she'll do is she'll take it out on the demigods or on the parents of the demigods. And it's like, girl, it ain't their fault that Zeus is coming down here in the form of a golden shower, shape of a bull, a swan, knocking all these girls up. It ain't their fault. And again, he's like, well, I'm the king of gods. I can do whatever I want. There's no sense of consequence. There's no sense of responsibility, no sense of duty. And Hierophant energy and Nine of Pentacles energy. No, I'm not going to say that Nine of Pentacles energy isn't suitable to Knight of Wands energy, because Nine of Pentacles energy, it gives Knight of Wands energy the sort of financial basis for it to go out and do all of the things that it wants to do, right? But the Hierophant energy definitely isn't necessarily this, unless you're committed to like a leave no roots type life, right? Not growing any roots, rolling stone gathers no moss, so I'm gonna keep on rolling. But honestly, it feels like it's the thing about that I said about putting down roots. It's like this Knight of Wands energy wants to be sure that, like, if you're going to ask it to work or to do something, that it's going to work out. And maybe that's why the Six of Pentacles and the Emperor anchor type energy is at the bottom of the decks for this. Because it's an immediate gratification energy. And some things take time to establish. And the payout is not going to be immediate. And if we need that immediate fulfillment, immediate satisfaction, it's going to be difficult to give whatever we have the opportunity to come into the time, energy, dedication, and effort that it requires. And it's like I said about the dude or the lady, the person who's a player but doesn't want to be a player anymore. It's like if we take a moment to still ourselves, I feel like we would kind of sort of begin to feel in some area that we don't want what it is that we used to want. And that this, like, you know, this energy of like not even getting to know the person's name, it's played out. It's like we're coming out of that phase. And I ain't judging nobody, right? You ain't got to know somebody's name to sleep with them. But it's like if you don't even know someone's name, how much of a lasting impact is that going to have on you? Now, sometimes we do have these one-off encounters that are just like, oh, whoa, like, that was like really hot. But I don't know, it just feels like an energy of transition. But again, it's like, it's feeling like we're not wanting to give whatever it is the time and energy that it requires to build something substantial and truly fulfilling. Maybe also with the Four of Swords and the Hierophant, it's like kind of sort of a fear of commitment. It's like whenever we get too still, then we get restless. You gotta dig into that. There may be a reason there. It feels like avoidance. It feels like trust or abandonment issues. It feels like, yeah, it's abandonment issues primarily and avoidance. And it's like to minimize hurt feelings or disappointment, we go after things that we know don't ultimately fulfill us with that Knight of Wands energy. So that if it doesn't work out, we're not hurt by it, quote unquote. It's like, oh, well, I didn't really care anyway. Oh, well, I wasn't really invested anyway. Oh, well, it was just fun for me. Like, there was nothing here. Like that no strings attached type of deal, type of situation. And so the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands could also be us being honest with ourselves about how continuing to operate from that space is, it's not working for us anymore. It's not serving us. And it almost feels like at this point to continue to act like it is doing anything is only going to deepen whatever void is being created. That is seeking fulfillment. Right? Like personally, that's one of the things that I never really vibed with. Um, I don't believe in wasting time, honestly. And so if I don't see anything going anywhere with somebody, I'm not going to invest time in it. I'm not really like I'm not here to just have fun or whatever. And a lot of people have been like, "Oh, you're young, like don't just jump into something serious, like enjoy whatever while you're young." And I'm like I could do that, like I understand what you're saying to me, but for me personally, I don't get any fulfillment out of encounters that don't mean anything. I don't get any enjoyment out of that. I have to, like, I'm the type of person where I have to have some kind of connection in order to enjoy that experience. So I'm not out here just having fun for fun's sake because it doesn't fulfill me. And I kind of sort of tried that once. I kind of sort of tried that twice. And I walked away from both situations just like, that was not great. That was not fun. Like, there is absolutely no connection in that. And it's just not me. It's not me. And so it's time for us to find out what's like really us or whatever. I don't know. This one was kind of weird. Not weird, weird, but kind of weird, honestly. But that's what I got. It's like if we live this lifestyle where we don't want to put any roots down or whatever, then it's like how do you sustain yourself? Right? Even animals have dens that they return to. Even people have homes. Well, I guess the fortunate ones of us have homes, right? So yeah, that's what that's about, I guess. At least if it were like a Kingdom Wines energy or something, it's just I don't know. I feel like it's oh, I don't get final cards from this deck when I use it like this. Five of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. This Five of Wands is in the shape of a pentagram. Pentacle. Pentagram. It is a pentagram. Pentagram is where the point is facing down, and the pentacle is where the point is facing up, and then the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the thing about the pentagram, I looked it up a long time ago just to see what the difference was. And what I saw, it was like with the pentagram, since the point is facing downwards, it's putting everything earthly above spirit. And so it's like it's putting all of your more base and carnal desires above what actually fulfills you. And then it's creating this internal conflict where the things that we truly want can't really take root and can't grow because we're not really giving anything to it. And this Wheel of Fortune is so interesting because there are so, like, there's this rod here or a staff, but there are so many thorns on this thing. We have the snake that's biting its own tail. And when I see the snake biting its own tail in this deck, to me, it symbolizes getting our ego in check and getting our ego in line to move forward. Because it's like if we don't have our ego in check, our ego in line, then it's gonna, hey, Bloomin' Rose, good morning. How are you doing? If we don't get our ego in check or in line, I don't even know when you said that, girl. I hope it ain't been like 20 minutes. Then it keeps us in a space of sabotaging things. It's like, man, I really wanted to do this, but My ego like told me to go out and do this or do that or do whatever, and I don't have any control over it. So, I just went out and did it. It's like, okay, girl, well, I feel like that's our limitation though. Not getting clear on and connecting to the self is going to keep this wheel of fortune from spinning in a direction that it hasn't spun in before. It's like you want something new, but you ain't willing to do anything new to get it. Type of energy. You're good. Glad to hear it. You got your coffee, girl. It's early. It's early. Probably getting ready for work. I'm about to go back to sleep. I just woke up and I was like, let me get this out of the way now. So since I get these out of the way early in the day, early in the night, I have all day to work on the stuff I need to work on. Whew. Oh yeah. Okay. This is interesting. And I feel like one of the things that the world, our 2020, has put us in a position potentially. Well, honestly, it could go either way. Either, I don't want to say nihilistic or nihilistic, but there's like a more nihilistic approach where like everything is moments from crumbling. I'd rather go out and satisfy all of my carnal desires. But also, maybe it's put us in a position in a space to want something more stable, want something more permanent, want to do something or build something or create something moving forward. But again, to do that, there are certain parts of the self that we have to get in check. Like, if one of the ways that you sabotage something, and again, I feel like that Knight of Wands energy, it could be these things that lead us to sabotage opportunities in ways that we don't even understand. Let's say for some reason you smoke lots of weed, you drank lots of alcohol, or you do some other kind of substancey type of drug thing, right? And you do it as stress relief. But let's say you have this job. Let's say you have this task. Let's say you have this project that is very demanding. If your solution to stress and demand is substance based, let's say you're given this opportunity, you're given a promotion, you're given whatever upward mobility, but it requires more from you. You're stressed TF out. And so you hit the bottle hard, you hit whatever else, and now all of a sudden it's like you're missing work. You can't function without whatever substance you've developed a dependency on. Or let's say like it's a relationship that starts to go sour and it's a space for you to begin to work through something. But you hit the bottle, you hit the substance, you hit whatever. And because of that, you're not present. And but here's that Knight of Wands energy that's like, oh, like I'm stressed, like let me go do some stress relief. But if that stress relief sabotages this opportunity or it impacts your ability to show up and fulfill the obligations that you need to fulfill within this space, then here's something potentially that you're kind of sort of throwing away because of this dependency that you've developed. And it feels like this very Knight of Wands energy. It's like, because it's like by the time you get to this point, it's like, that the part of your brain that's like, I have work in the morning, I have to do this, I have to do that. If I start, I might not stop type of energy. You don't listen to it because it's all about that moment. And then it turns into this behavior pattern where you continue to do stuff like that. I don't know. That's what it's feeling like. And like it's just time to get that under control. And maybe it's time to find healthier, not even necessarily healthier, but just different ways to cope with stress or to cope with other things. Because like if it's the weekend and like as long as it's not impacting your ability to go out and do the things in the world that you need to do, that's fine. But if it gets to the point where you can't even do what you need to do, and then it's like, I don't want to be judgmental or anything, but is that worth your job? Is that worth otherwise perfectly healthy relationship. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. That Knight of Wands could be literally anything. It just feels like self sabotage. It's like doing one thing for some immediate result in the space of not getting or fearing something else. So, whew. But let's see. Final message from the affirmators. Ooh, now these want to shuffle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I need to get some more sleep because I think this service is at like, hey, my mama's probably going early too. She probably gonna be there at like 10 o'clock. It's already 6:50. Thankfully, I already got a few hours of sleep. Let me just get a few more. Why is this? Oh, never mind. All right, let's see. It was an issue of dealing with your stress and the depression, but you saw what was happening and made the changes. I'm glad that you were able to do that, Blooming Rose. And I feel like sometimes it's really hard for us to recognize when we're doing something like that. And so we don't even it's like sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it until we've been doing it to the point where it's impacting us. Well, look, there's judgment. Judgment just keeps coming out in this deck. What is that? Is that the same? Oh, it's the Queen of Wands. Judgment, the Queen of Wands, and Death are the bottom three cards, with the Nine of Wands behind Death. And again, so like with this energy, I feel like it's not about being judgmental. It's about putting ourselves in the best possible position to get to where we want to be and to not inadvertently end up losing it. I don't know. You were in a deep fog. Sorry to hear it, but I'm glad to hear that you're coming out of it. Because I know this year it's been, it feels like it's been what they call it, like a battle of attrition. Whenever you sort of like lay siege to a certain place and you're just waiting until they run out of resources. That's what that's what it feels like 2020 has been. Like we're under siege since like March, April, some places longer. And it's like, how much do you have within you? How well stocked are you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? When are you going to reach that breaking point? And it's not to feel weak or whatever, because the things that are happening for the duration that they've been happening and on the scale that they're happening, it's momentous and unprecedented in a lot of ways. You had three towers in a row. Oh my gosh. But I honestly feel like if we can learn to navigate this, I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm just like, when is it going to be this difficult like ever again? When is it going to be this rough? It just feels like it's really going to put us in a position to not, it's just like it'll be fairly smoother sailing. And this will be like one of those moments in our own lives where it's like, okay, if I can navigate that, I can get this under control. I think another thing for us to do is, if we're finding ways to stay sane or to stay centered and grounded, to really make note of it moving forward. And I remember, I think it was the year before last, I was asking people, like a whole bunch of people, like, what are some of the things that you do to stay grounded, especially when you're busy? Like, is there any, because I was genuinely curious before I went back to school and started my last semester. Um, But I was like, is there anything that you do that's like 5 minutes here and there, like in between time, and then when you have more time, what is something that you do? Um, but yeah, it's potentially like really wearing on people for it to still be happening and still be going on. Not to mention, the rest of life that continues to happen outside of that. Because it's not like the rest of life stops. It's like, okay, everything else is on hold as we, as a global collective, deal with this one thing. The rest of life has stopped. It's like, no, no, life continues. But, unfortunately, ain't no real breaks in the real world. So, yeah, I'm really glad you caught that, Bloomin' Rose. Let's see what our card is. It's the Queen of Cups. Lean on Spirit is what just popped into my mind. But it feels a little bit more like establishing within ourselves an emotional, spiritual foundation through this time that will kind of sort of keep us solid. And to try our best to continue to look at the brighter side, or to keep our spirits high. It's like it's trying to stay loving, trying to stay soft or tender. And I feel like it's rooting and establishing things in ways, has the opportunity to root and establish lots of things. Because, like I said, it's like, when is it going to be this difficult or this challenging again? I feel like there are so many things that we're in this space of learning about ourselves, and so many things that we're kind of sort of dealing with on top of everything else. But the foundation that it sets and the precedents that we set for ourselves in these times are going to be some things that really serve us moving forward. Just in the space of navigating the management of, like, emotional management, mental management, spiritual management, physical management, and maintaining the balance and all of that of ourselves and our well being in this space. And it's like, it's always okay to not be okay. And us feeling like it's not okay to be okay, or feeling ashamed of what we're feeling when we're feeling it, it only adds more weight onto those feelings. And I have moments all the time where I'm just like, what is happening? Like, I need something concrete. I need something to begin moving. Like, I need for something to begin moving, because, like, this is not where it ends for me. And there have been like some rougher times, but I've sat with myself through that, and I've been honest about it with myself. And then as I sit with myself and as I'm honest about it, I work through it to the point where it's not affecting me long term. It's about that alchemy, it's about that balance. I'm going to read the entry for the Queen of Cups. Here she is. Excuse me. And then I'll shut this down and hopefully get a little bit more sleep. I don't think I have anything to wear. Oh my gosh. It's fine. Um, so, the Queen of Cups. Behold, you are in the presence of feminine superpowers. The Queen of Cups is basically a psychic therapist who is also a wise and ancient mermaid. No big whoop. If the struggle is extra real right now, stuff all the sucky stuff into a bag and place it gently in her lap. Then open your mouth and exhale. This lady's got you. If you're already feeling like a queen, then use your next level emotional stability as a flashlight to help others find their way through the darkness. Just stay sensitive and nurturing. Let intuition be your guide, and know that delicious epiphanies are on the way, along with, hopefully, a plate of homemade mermaid brownies. The affirmation here is, I am filled with the platinum light of grace, tranquility, and cozy comfort. In other words, cancel my 3 o'clock. So, yeah. And that's something that I've been trying to do. Stay sensitive, stay open, not be too, whatever I'm being. Um, And I guess it's like if you've got the light to shine, then maybe shine it a little bit. Question mark. I don't know where I'm just like, you know what? In these times, like, can we like help out people? Yeah, but we also have to remember to be our own light and to give to ourselves what we need and to not be so quick to pour everything out because you know just take care of ourselves when we need to. So know that hard times don't last always. And lots of things are in the space of transition and movement. And again, while everything is in these spaces of transition and movement, it's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay, or it's less okay, for us to not allow ourselves to not be okay. Because again, when we approach it with that attitude, it makes things worse. Because not only are we not feeling okay, but now we're also feeling some type of way about why we're not feeling okay. So now not only do we have to deal with not being okay in the moment, we now also have to deal with this additional burden of everything that us not being okay is throwing onto us. I don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. So thank you, Bloom and Rose, for stopping in. I hope that you continue to do better and better and better, and that the fog continues to clear, and that whatever you are needing in these moments and in these times, you are finding it. Even if it's just a breath. Sometimes we just need a deep breath, or the ability, the time, the space to take a deep breath. So I will catch y'all later. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I'm going to try to get a few more hours of sleep before my day starts. And I'll catch y'all probably tomorrow. Or maybe later. No, hopefully not later. Because like I said, I do actually got work I need to do. So it's the middle of October, y'all. It's officially October 15th. There are like 2.5 months left in 2020. And then it's going to be 2021. That is wild to me. That is wild to me. No problem, Bloom and Rose. You are very, very welcome. Did I say have a good whatever whenever you see this? And I hope y'all are acting in alignment to make it the best it can possibly be. If not, there it is. If so, there it is again.